this whole thing started because they discontinued the meat that we were eating. So like everything is still, we go around the circle, like every weird thing that happened, because like we were totally on our diet full course and like we're never gonna deviate, and then they discontinued the meat that we were eating, so we had to eat fish and we had to eat chicken and we had to try every butcher shop in town, which none of them had good meat, and all of them, like, we would think it was good for a minute and then we didn't realize how fatty it was, and then you start feeling really sluggish. And we had no idea, because you assume it's good meat. It says it's grass-fed organic, and you think, oh, it's fresh from a butcher in New York City. Couldn't be better in Manhattan, and then it was all crap. And each one of the meats messed us up in different ways, because we each time thought it was going to be good. We're like, oh, it's got to be good. And it's also $13, $14 a pound. It must be healthy. Instead, they just literally were ripping us off. That's the first people that started. Well, actually, other people were already taking advantage of us at that point. The first initial people that took advantage was the butchers, charging $14 a pound for stuff that's not even the same quality as what they charge $7 at Whole Foods for. And those guys are charging $13, $14 a pound, and it's subpar. No matter what percentage they claim it is, they'll say it's 95%, it's still fattier than you could even imagine. Like your 93% or 95% is fattier than any of this other meat. That's way more affordable too, and is way healthier than any of this Manhattan butchers or Brooklyn. Manhattan or Brooklyn. Let me see, I feel like this may have dinged. I'm not trying to adjust, but oh, not yet. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. See, we felt so much happier just being in a unit that has some sun. But that's not enough. Your long-term happiness. You know what I mean? And I'm tired of wearing huge sweatshirts and sweatpants. It'd be nice to be able to wear some shorts and a t-shirt again. Tank top or something, Jeez, I've been in like sweatpants and sweatshirts for almost a year now. Here's your Saratoga.
That's one thing we discovered we like though here.
Yeah, and we like the Mountain Valley too. It's good. Yeah, so I was talking about, it's in New York City, like there's a certain amount of time that like you can like spend outside when it's really cold, that at first you're like, oh, it's not so bad, and you might go out one day, and like today we went and you're like, oh, it's getting warmer, this is great. But then there comes a certain time that you're like, okay, now it's getting really cold, I'm gonna be inside. So it's like, it's probably like an hour or something when it's really cold, where you're like, at first you're like, oh, this isn't so bad, and then it really is like this, it gets at you, it bites, and you're like, okay, I really want to get indoors as soon as possible now. This idea that we were going to go on this like nature walk for a mile or something, let's go, or we were going to walk all the way to the store, let's order this delivery, because it's weird, it's hard to describe, and it looks so beautiful, and right now we have a view and it looks so beautiful out there, but everybody's not enjoying it. I mean, if you actually look at their faces, no one looks happy when they're walking. Like right now, everybody's like, it's just like everybody's all got their heads down with especially now when you got the masks and you got your beanies and you got hoods and you got and everybody's like scurrying along, even though it's like so beautiful. And it's just a shame. And there are times that it's nice to walk around here. Like people go, what about it's nice? But like if it's a nice day, oh my gosh, everybody comes out of the woodworks too. Like you can barely get around, and so you can't do anything because like everybody's out. You can't, like, even if you go down the wire, everybody's down there. It's just annoying. But then also like it's like not that warm ever. Like even on those days, you always pretty much had to have pants and a light jacket at least. There was not really any day here that I remember that I was like I had to wear my shorts. Because I even remember, even on the humid days, down in the subway, sometimes it could be cold. Sometimes the subway could be really hot. But sometimes the subway was cold, like, because it was, like, not sunny down there. And it could be cold, so you'd want to wear your pants, even when it was, like, really hot out. Or sometimes the subway gets really hot when it's not that hot out, too. So there's both extremes there. But, I do know, like, one time, when I was always dressed improperly. Like, it would be, like, if I thought it was going to be hot, I would be freezing. And then if I had thought that it was going to be, warmer or whatever, then I'm like way overdressed, or I don't know, whatever. I'm stoned right now, but the opposite. Because I remember a couple times like being like, oh, it's going to be cold, and then being way overdressed for that particular moment. Like if you go in the subway or something, like, oh, it's way too hot today of all days. You know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't a consistent thing. It'd be like, oh, just today is way too hot. Of course, the day that I decided to wear the pants, or today's not that warm day during the summer, and I decided to actually wear shorts, and it ends up being like the cold day. So there's like always cold days, and there's always like rain that comes through too, which makes it really cold, I think too. I think it's the rain too, because it rains. Doesn't it rain like every month? I mean, I think it rains every month. I don't think there's a month that doesn't rain. I think it rains probably every couple of weeks, if not. I would say at least every other week it rains, if not every week. Almost. I mean, there's rain almost weekly, year round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. It's weird that people don't complain more about the weather here. Like, I haven't heard. I always heard it was cold, but other than that, I'd be, oh, it's beautiful, this or that. I'm like, I've for one thing never heard of like how often it rains. I mean, we were here about a year, and I don't think you go very long without it raining here. I mean, I think I'm trying to remember, like, I think pretty much every month you get quite a few weeks of rain or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm trying to think of a month that didn't have rain. I can't think of one. It's like, so you pretty much, it rains every month. It's weird. Yeah.